The Recon tank. Fast, light, affordable, heavy cannon, and resistant to RPGs. Now introducing the Recon tank tree. This tree consists of tank variants from tank heads to a light tank with an autocannon and more. Let's start with the humble tank head. This unit starts at tier 1 of the tree, costing only a cost of 55 ticks, very cheap. It has the same mobility of a medium tank. It can see up to 2 tiles, highly effective against infantry. But due to its armor and a lack of cannon, making it very weak from anti-tank units. The tank can only be used as a cheap anti-infantry weapon. In-game description: a very lightly armored tank that is armed with a machine gun, only really effective against non-armored units. Lore: despite being given a literal box with a gun welded onto it, it never stopped the crew from charging headfirst into enemy ambushes. Next up, the light tank. Starting at tier 2, costing only about 75 ticks, mobility of 4, armor of 15, a sight of 2, fuel of 6. The evolution from the tank head now includes a cannon to fight other lightly armored vehicles. It can be used as an emergency anti-tank / infantry. In-game description: a major step up for your puny tank head, now featuring a cannon to deal with any potential armored threats. Lore: somehow surviving brushes with anti-tank weaponry. The tank head crew can now have something that punched slightly harder, but could still die by getting breathed on. Before we move on, we gotta discuss the variants of the light tank. These variants are the auto tank and light tank CS, both of which can be unlocked by gems. Auto tank has the same stats as light tank, but it replaces the cannon with an auto cannon. Less effective against tanks, but more effective against infantry, and it costs 5 ticks less. And the light tank CS, previously known as the infantry tank, has the same size as the light tank, but instead of a light cannon, they slap the HE lobber to demolishing buildings and eliminating infantry. However, as same as the light tank, it's less effective against armored vehicles. And finally, the tank that was shown in the intro and the title of the video, the Recon tank. At tier 3 has the final evolution of a unit, costing 100 ticks to produce, now boasts a strong cannon, high mobility, and a radio for that extra fire support. The Recon tank is the most armored out of the bunch, making it more survivable against AT that you should avoid with any tank, but it does give you a peace of mind as this tank can punch above its weight and range. However, you should avoid fighting with tanks with even heavier armor, like a battle tank, unless you face it with superiority in numbers. In-game description: a heavy cannon welded onto a light chassis. This tank is now able to use the radio perk.
Hooray!
Lore: now having the best of the cheapest communications equipment, semi-functioning optics, and a gun that actually hurts, they're maybe ready to take on the most heavily armored enemies. These units can be used as cheap anti-infantry units as they have enough armor to resist fire from, say, a grunt or a light gunner, like the tank head. They're also fast moving, potentially dangerous to your opponent when used properly, as surprising your enemy, supporting your other units in battle with fire support and more. I recommend using the Recon tank when you have it. If the map is vast, you have to be fast paced, or whatever your strategy that your loadout appeals to. Thank you for reaching the end of the video. Please do like and subscribe. It does mean tons to me. And have a wonderful day ahead of you. Goodbye.